Hello everyone, my name is Samantha Roundy and I am here to present my informative speech on how to set and achieve SMART goals. So without further ado, let's go ahead and I'll begin. To start, I'd like to ask a question. How many of you have ever tried to reach a goal? Did you succeed? How many of you failed? Well, I've tried to reach a few goals and unfortunately none of my attempts ever worked until now. Maybe even some of you have felt the same thing I did when I failed at achieving a goal. One goal in particular made me realize I was setting the wrong goals, and it was when I failed at making a career of being a certified Pokemon master. Okay, now don't laugh, but when I came to terms that this goal was unachievable, I was hurt, frustrated, and I cried and cried. And then I cried some more. You see, not only did I just fail at reaching a goal, but I watched it as it came crashing down from the heavens, past the rough terrain of Earth's crust, before crashing into the fiery depths of hell where I imagine it's still burning for all time and eternity. Yeah. So if you're anything like me, you hate to lose, give up, or walk away feeling defeated. But if you think all hope is lost, you're wrong. I found the way to set and achieve goals. Granted, I don't have a PhD in setting and achieving goals, but I might as well have for the amount of time, research, and tears I put into learning about it. Within the next few minutes, I'll take you step by step through the process of determining how to set SMART goals by avoiding the pitfalls of the false hope syndrome, explaining the 5 elements every goal should have, and staying passionate until the end. So let's get started on learning how to make SMART goals. For those of you who may not know what the false hope syndrome is, let me begin by explaining. The false hope syndrome is when you essentially set yourself up for failure by believing you can accomplish something that you cannot actually achieve. A great example of falling into the false hope syndrome was my goal on making a career of being a certified Pokemon master. I know. Because this goal was so unrealistic and unattainable, I was heartbroken, and it caused me to feel a lot of negative emotions that prevented me from wanting to make goals again. And I have found that the biggest reason why people suffer from falling into the false hope syndrome is because their goals lack the 5 elements that make up SMART goals. These elements, when combined, act a bit like superheroes that help us to improve our chances of being able to reach our goals before we actually start working towards our goal. And in the next few minutes, I'll discuss why having these 5 elements are crucial for setting goals. Now that you've learned about the false hope syndrome, let's move on to what makes a SMART goal. The first thing you need to know when setting a SMART goal is to understand the 5 elements that consist of a SMART goal, which are specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. By considering these guidelines when setting a goal, you will actually increase the chances of reaching your goals. So for instance, being specific will provide you with a clearer focus on what you really want to do. An example would be that, let's say you want to fit into a size dress, and you currently fit into a size 6 dress. Therefore, a specific goal would be to lose weight in order to fit into that size 5 dress. Along with being specific, you need to make sure that you can measure your progress. This is where having measurability comes in, since it will help you answer the question of, how will I know when I reached my goal? Being able to measure your progress is an excellent way to determine whether or not the steps you're taking to reach your goals are effective. And by using measurability, if later down the road you discover that what you're doing isn't working, it'll be easier for you to make adjustments regarding how you plan to reach your goal. Next, your goal should be achievable. You need to be aware of your limitations so you can set achievable goals. For instance, it would be unreasonable to set a goal for climbing to the top of Mount Everest during the middle of winter in a bikini. Please, for the love of God, do not do this, because you will die of severe hypothermia in less than 10 minutes. That is a big no-no. No climbing the top of Mount Everest in the middle of winter in a bikini. Don't do it, please. So going back to topic, when you are planning an achievable goal, not like the one I just described, but an achievable goal, you should ask yourself, what reasonable steps should I take to accomplish my goal? Now that you have a strong foundation on what your goal should have, let's focus on why you should set your goals. This is the element where relevancy comes in, because when you consider whether or not your goal is relevant, you'll be able to answer the following questions, such as, is this a worthwhile goal? Do I have the necessary resources to accomplish this goal? Is this goal in line with my long-term goals or objectives? If your current goals are relevant to where you're trying to go or with what you're trying to achieve in the future, then your current goals should help you get closer to your future dreams, not farther away from them. For instance, let's say that a person is making a goal of becoming a sumo wrestler within the next year or so. That goal would not be relevant to their long-term goal of being a professional figure skater within the next 2 to 4 years. Yeah, I don't see that working out well. So as you can see from this example, SMART goals will not only enable you to attain your current goals, but your future ones as well. The final element of a SMART goal is time bound. The purpose of this element is to help you to understand the time frame with which you will accomplish your goal. This element does two things. One, it will help you to stay positive, motivated, and better prepared to reach your goal. And number two, without a time frame, goals that take a long time to accomplish will most likely leave you frustrated and upset, which can make you give up or fall into the false hope syndrome. In determining the time-bound element of your SMART goal, you need to consider the following questions, such as, how long will it take to accomplish this goal? When am I even going to work on this goal? So after learning about how to avoid the false hope syndrome and setting SMART goals, let's talk about how to stay passionate to the very end. Working on our goals won't always be as easy as we'd like them to be, unfortunately. But there are some things that we can do to kind of help us stick with it. One thing we can do is to recognize that we may need to adjust one of our 5 elements if we find that our steps aren't efficient in reaching our goal. For instance, let's say that you wanted to gain 10 pounds of muscle in 3 weeks, but during that time, you've only gained 1 pound. So with that in mind, you may want to consider stretching the time-bound element to 6 weeks instead. Excuse me. Another thing we can do is to seek help and support from others while working towards our goal. Your friends and your family members are more often than not eager to support you. It's important to inform them of your goals because not only can they encourage you, but they might know of someone who is working towards a similar goal. If that's the case, then you'll have an easier time in finding a supportive partner, or as I like to call it, a goal buddy. What's more, the more people that know about your goal, the better it will be, because it's going to make it harder for you to give up. You'll not only fear of failure, but you're going to also be afraid that you're going to let down your family and friends or make them feel that you lied to them. So those are some of the main reasons why you should always let as many people know about your goals as possible. Now, you have been given the keys to setting realistic goals, and now you can use the steps that we covered in this talk to help you stay on track, so that you can not only attain your current goals, but your future ones as well. And it is important to remember, as with all things, it's not going to be as easy as we'd like, unfortunately, I know, but all good things come to those who wait. So if you're able to remain steadfast and persevere, you're going to reach your goals, even if you have to adjust them a little bit. Thank you, everyone. My name is Samantha Roundy again, and I hope you enjoyed my talk.